crackling campfire cast eerie shadows upon the towering trees that surrounded our campsite. A group of us had ventured deep into the heart of the woods for a weekend camping trip. The air was thick with anticipation as we shared stories and laughter, ignorant of the horrors that awaited us. The first night passed relatively uneventfully. We roasted marshmallows, exchanged ghost stories, and eventually retreated to our tents. I snuggled into my sleeping bag, comforted by the familiar sounds of crickets chirping and leaves rustling in the breeze. But as I was about to drift off to sleep, a faint whisper reached my ears. It was distant and indistinct, like voices carried on the wind. I brushed it off as my imagination, a trick of tiredness playing on my mind. However, the following day, unease settled in. Our hike had taken us deeper into the woods, where the trees seemed to close in around us. The sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy above, casting the forest floor in dappled shadows. Every so often, the wind would carry those whispers to my ears again, just on the edge of hearing. As the sun sank below the horizon, the atmosphere shifted. The forest, once a place of natural beauty, had transformed into a realm of darkness and uncertainty. The campfire struggled to ward off the encroaching shadows, and a feeling of being watched gripped me. The whispers grew more distinct as if they were trying to form words. Fear coiled around my heart as I realized the whispers were coming from the woods themselves. "Stay," they seemed to plead, their voices echoing through the trees. My friends exchanged nervous glances, clearly hearing the unsettling sounds as well. We tried to joke it off, attributing it to the wilderness playing tricks on our minds. But deep down, we all knew that something wasn't right. That night, I lay in my tent, the darkness pressing in on me. I strained my ears to listen, dreading the return of those ghostly whispers. Suddenly, a voice emerged from the symphony of murmurs, distinct and chillingly close. "Join us," it hissed, so close that I could almost feel its breath on my ear. My heart raced, and I pressed my hands over my ears, trying to block out the haunting sounds. But the whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if they were seeping into my mind. Panic gripped me, and I burst out of my tent only to find my friends gathered around the dying campfire, wide-eyed and pale. "We can't leave," one of them stammered, tears glistening in their eyes. "They won't let us." The whispers had ensnared us in a web of terror, their grip tightening with every passing moment. The feeling of being watched had escalated into a suffocating presence that seemed to close in from all sides. We huddled together, trying to find comfort in each other's trembling presence, but it was as if the darkness itself was alive, a malevolent force that sought to swallow us whole. As the night wore on, the whispers transformed into anguished cries and desperate pleas. They echoed our own fears and doubts, twisting them into a nightmarish chorus that tore at our sanity. It was as if the very essence of the forest had turned against us, feeding off our terror and amplifying it into a symphony of dread. With the first light of dawn, the whispers finally began to recede. Exhausted and shaken, we gathered our belongings and fled the woods, leaving behind the campsite that had become a battleground of the supernatural. We didn't speak much about what had happened, but the memory of those haunting voices lingered long after we returned to civilization. Years have passed since that fateful camping trip, but the whispers still haunt my dreams. I can't escape the feeling that they are waiting, just beyond the edge of my consciousness, ready to engulf me once more. And when I find myself in the quiet of the night, a shiver runs down my spine as I wonder if those voices were truly a product of the wilderness, or if something malevolent had indeed sought us out, turning our innocent camping trip into a descent into madness. So, if you ever venture into the woods, remember my story. Remember the whispers that can worm their way into your mind, and the darkness that can turn a simple camping trip into a nightmare beyond imagination. And if you hear them, those faint, distant whispers carried on the wind, know that you're not alone, that something is out there lurking in the shadows, waiting to claim its next victim.